What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? You know what time it is. Episode 52 up in the mix. One more time. Shout out to everyone for coming in, tuning in, showing a little bit of love. Before we get to it, we got a DJ and Poet. And you know what time it is. It's your host, Gaddis TV. What's going on? If you got yourself an Android and or an iPhone, do yourself a favor, download the FTX app, and stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrencies and NFTs. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, and we are live and direct. So first off, DJ, I want to say thank you very much for coming in, tuning in, showing some love. And I guess I'll call you by your full name, DJ and Poet. So thank you for taking some time out of your day and stopping on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
100%. We were kind of talking a little bit before we just went live. A lot of people in this space will honestly know who you are. For the people that don't, just a quick little, who are you? What were you doing before crypto? What got you interested in crypto? And I guess what are you known for, kind of in the Solana world?
Sure. So yeah, for anybody who doesn't know me, my name's Matthew. I won't give away my last name, but at least that's my first name. I live right outside of Chicago. I moved around a bunch, as a kid, I guess, between sort of the Chicago area and Arkansas. Ultimately, I came to Chicago to go to Columbia, Chicago for grad school for poetry. So I got an MFA in poetry there, and mostly I just I guess, got really depressed and really didn't like the world of poetry as it was in real life, and couldn't find a great job as a teacher. It paid like nothing. So I got onto Craigslist and found a good job working for like a small kosher beef company, doing some data work for them. And that led to where I'm at now at Cresco Labs, a big cannabis company in Chicago, doing, basically BI and data work for them too. So building dashboards and reports, analyzing, sales and stuff like that. So that's sort of my day to day. And then I got into crypto, basically at the beginning of COVID. I really got in deep, I'd say, January of last year. Just working from home, living at home. Had a cousin who was really into Bitcoin for a long time, and just decided to take the plunge. And I mean, I was really obsessed with it. I really love, I don't know, databases, and so blockchain is kind of like an evolution of all that. So that got me really interested in the technology. And then, I'd always I guess, not been good at winning games. Never been a good gambler. Been good at winning tickets and things like that. So, making some money off of trading for the first time was super exhilarating.
For sure.
I just got really carried away with it. I think I was up maybe at most 30 grand at one point, and then I'd say within a week I was down to 2,000. I was yeah. Leverage trading on KuCoin. Made a lot of my money off Solana, actually. That was a great leverage trade a while back. But yeah, just kind of got beat up by the whole degen life. And then somewhere around August, September is when I found Solana NFTs. I started with a Viking Solana MBS, and I paper handed it at 30 soul.
That's still good. When was that?
That had to be right after mint. It was a week or two after mint is when I got in.
At the time, because I wasn't in Solana, but I guess from the stories, from everything that hit that at that time, that was honestly technically, was that a paper hand at that time? That was pretty strong, wasn't it?
It was fine at the time, but then I think it was probably a couple weeks later where it hit over easy. But yeah, I don't know. I did a lot of that. I bought everything. I bought 3 Thugbirds at the beginning, I think, and I sold them for 3 to 5 soul or something.
Wow.
Same thing with the geckos. Made a little off of that. Blew my soul steads. I don't know. It's been up and down quite a bit. Every time I've ever made money on someone, I blow it the next day on something else.
Blown it, yeah.
But I really enjoy, just buying and selling NFTs, and like you meet a lot of people that way, like all the different communities that represent, these different projects and stuff. Um, but yeah, I guess pretty early on, I mean, I had the idea to do poetry on Solana. I just, I didn't really see a lot of poetry NFTs. And then, like my experiences, like in the real world, like you just don't have opportunities as a poet. Like your opportunity is to make like 40 grand as an English teacher and teach poetry as one out of your five courses that you're teaching, and the rest are like English 101s,
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much demand for like a specific course that's poetry. And then, in order to become, let's say, a tenured professor somewhere, you work to publish books of poetry and then like get acclamations in this little world, right? Between like journals and colleges. And, it's kind of like whatever, it's a popularity contest among those people. And then at the end of the day, like the job itself is not great. Like, the actual teaching of these kids, most of them don't care. You get paid like shit. And then like your books, is like the best poets that I know in the world sell their books for $15, $20 a book. On Solana, I can sell a poem for $1,000, one poem.
Easy.
My average is like $70, and that's I can't even imagine buying a book off the shelf for that much. So I just feel like it's a much greater opportunity, especially for poets, sort of for the first time, to share their work and be appreciated, and really have like an avenue, to get some value out of their work. So I don't know. It's really exciting for me. I've been through many brands and transitions. I started as Heathcliff Poems. That's my
Mm-hmm.
dog's name, is Heathcliff.
Nice.
I got in right when Solsea started. Like Solsea had this like week-long start before everything crashed, and it was really amazing for a hot second, like a day. And I
Damn.
sold a bunch of poems for like one soul each, like
Nice.
right out of the gate. And then after that, it was just like a humongous drought, and then it was really difficult to sell. And I gave up Heathcliff Poems. I got them verified, I think, on Digitalized, but eventually gave them up. And I found Gmoots. That's when, like, right
Mm-hmm.
around the time where Gmoot actually had their mint. I saw them. It was the few, things that I saw like when they were minting. So I got excited because it was words. It also sort of pissed me off. I was like, the idea of loot and stuff, like the idea that people just had a random bunch of words and they were going, like, loot was selling for 10 grand at the time.
Yeah.
Um, so that just made me really angry. And like when I don't know, for me, when I like art, how I think about it is like when I make a really big mistake or something gets me really upset, I try to like lean into it. I try to embrace it. I always find a lot of growth when I do that in those situations. Like it's like I'm mad for a reason. It means that there's something deeper it's hitting. I don't know. So that's where I just leaned into Gmoots. I was like, I'll turn these into poems. So I used Gmoots as templates, and I just filled in words around like the Gmoot words to make poems.
Nice.
Um, and that was a really fun experience and like a new way of writing for me. And I gave a lot of them away for free. I did like Google Forms and signups, and I had people like write like I don't know, some piece of inspiration or a song or something they liked, and then I would use that to try to incorporate it into the Gmoot. So it's like trying to make them super duper personal, giving them away one at a time and building an audience that way versus like a FOMO mint kind of thing. um,
No,
so yeah.
actually, I like that. I like it that way because, kind of like you said, it makes it more personal, honestly, to the even the person that would get it. Not I guess not a guarantee that I guess someone would honestly come back, stuff like that. But it attracts, like you said, the people that they're not just doing something for a retweet or something because I want to win something. It's one of those, hey, I like what he's doing. I appreciate that. Hey, he sent me it personally, stuff like that. So that's honestly really cool on that nature of it. I was gonna ask because I know you mentioned it before. I guess you kind of always been in, I guess, poetry, art, stuff like that. When I guess how long have you been, honestly, I guess into poetry? Just because the name DJ and poet, but job, I guess, like you said, right now doing something else. And like you said, I was kind of trying to think when you were explaining, I guess honestly, what type of opportunities like a poet would have, other than like you said, a teacher, in that nature of it, and it really would be hard to, I personally think, to, like you said, market yourself. Um, you'd be the greatest in the world, and again, I don't know too many avenues in the poetry, I guess, area. So how long have you been into poetry and I guess like that type of art? Has it always been since growing up, or when was that like that turning point for you when you were like, I like this shit, I fuck with it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I got to, it's been probably 15 years of poetry for me.
Nice.
I was in, probably junior high-ish, moving into high school when I really got into it. Just started as like a boy writing poems about girls. You know what I mean? Like I was, not the coolest kid in school. I was like in choir and stuff and just like in theater and things. And I would write like, whatever it was, love notes or goofy poems and stuff to girls to try to get them to like go out with me. It worked one time.
Oh,
One time
one.
it worked.
Oh, I was about to say you were probably slaying, bro. They're probably like, oh.
That worked one time. I also did like Disney songs. Like I would take like I don't know, like the bare necessities, and I made it into like the bare necessities, like about being naked and stuff. Like I don't know, just like really juvenile stuff, but like with rhymes and always trying, to write quote unquote a poem. Um, and I guess like probably middle of high school when I first started learning like capital P poetry in like English courses. E. E. Cummings was probably the first poet I really attached to, and still kind of hold, onto to this day. I basically I went to college and then I made my own major as a creative writing major with a focus in poetry. So all you had to do is like gather together existing courses from the college and then put it into a format that would like, merit a major. Like if you took all these courses, you would learn poetry, you would learn creative writing. And then it was all balanced out by a bunch of required stuff that everybody had to take, like so much math, so much science, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I made my own poetry major. And then one of my classes, I made an E. Cummings class.
Nice.
And I really studied him heavily. And I got to go to Austin, Texas, where like they have all of his journals and stuff. And like, I got to touch his journals that he wrote as a kid and like see the process, which was interesting. Like, this guy wrote 100 poems the same, one after another before he arrived at the one that's in the book, so you see all those scratch outs and stuff. But yeah, I don't
That's
know.
cool.
I mean, I've basically, yeah, since high school, it's been poetry's always been there, but it's been like, it's a push and a pull. Like, I get really into it and then I got burnt out of it, like, and so we kind of go in and out. And I gave it up for a solid like 5 or 6 years after my, grad school. And I really just started it again with Solana. Like, I mean, that was like dormant for a long time. And so when I started in Solana, I hadn't written poems in forever and was almost like at the point where I thought I might not be a poet, again.
That
um,
long, man.
yeah. So I just went nuts, man. I wrote like 30 poems a day for the first couple weeks I was on
Nice.
Solana. Like I was just nonstop, just going after it. Plus the Gmoots made it easy because the words are, half the words are already there. So it's like a really quick way to write poems.
And quick question on that, and I think you said it before that the G Moots, was that the first ones you did, I guess, on there? Or you said you did it before and then you were using those. I guess what was your? Do you remember your first poem? I guess that honestly that was minted and I guess purchased on that one or
Yeah,
um
like I said, the very first ones were Heathcliff poems. So there's
okay.
like a digitalized collection for those, and then there's actually a bunch of FTX stuff on those.
Nice.
When FTX started their minter, I tried it out, and I did a bunch of those on it. But then I left that behind pretty quickly, like for Gmoot poems, and that was actually my Twitter handle for a while was Gmoot poems. Um, and then after basically the completion or death or there's a lot to that. But basically, leaving Gmoot poems behind and wanting to kind of start a new brand, that's when I did, Degen Poet. And all this stuff now is kind of consolidated on Exchange Art. So like Gmoot Poems, for example, is underneath my name as Degen Poet, along with all the new stuff I did, which was really satisfying. to be able to put all that stuff together now. But yeah.
Nice. On the handle, I guess I mean it says like an ambassador of honestly exchange art. Um, is there a reason? I guess honestly you like them? Can you have you work on other platforms, things like that, or because I mean just at the handle, ambassador of exchange art, member of the URS and the Seven Swords clan, which I'm gonna figure out what those are in a quick second. But I guess honestly, why what do you mean as an ambassador of exchange art?
Sure. That just basically means that I help people get started on exchange, just answer questions, act as a guide and an example for people. But I mean, to be honest, like I've been on every single platform that there is. Like I was on Digitalize, SoulSea, Magic Eden, FTX. I've knocked on the doors of, Alpha Art and Solana Art and all these places, right? And Exchange Art was the first place that like, did everything that I wanted as a creator, like the
Nice.
ability to have multiple collections underneath my name, to have everything verified and be official within 24 hours. I waited for a month, just like sending Soul C all kinds of messages and never got verified for my poems on there as an artist. So that's, really disheartening when you're working your ass off and no one can even give you the damn blue sticker, on your listing to let people know that it's real. So that was a big thing. And then the other huge thing that Exchange Art did for me early was they supported an HTML chapbook of poems. It's like the first of its kind. They made it with FLG art, and so it's a book of poems all inside one NFT. The NFT is technically an HTML block, and then you can click on it and swipe through the pages with your finger or your mouse. And basically, this
Nice.
didn't exist yet on Exchange Art, and we got them to change their code so that people could view it on the site because there was no exchange where this kind of NFT was viewable. And then Fubby, who's like one of the engineers for Exchange Art, worked hand in hand with FLG to give him a bunch of tips on how to resize it. So like it looks good on a phone, on a computer, and different sizes now too. So yeah, they really went to bat for me when I wanted to invent, new things like that versus any other exchange. Just yesterday, they created a poetry category. So now I can officially categorize all my collections under poetry. Every other exchange has only got like profile pic, pixel art, painting. At the most, they have written word, but like this is the first official poetry category I've seen. So there's like, I don't know, a laundry list of the reasons why I like exchange art, to be frank.
No, 100%. And I think it's cool they were, I guess, open on, like you just said, listening honestly to you because, um, in general, like that's the first time I've heard something like that where it's like you said, NFT and it's like an actual book where you can flip the pages. Where honestly, for a lot of artists in general, I could see how that could be super dope and like useful. So that's actually cool because you probably just help bring more traction to their site. You know what I mean? So that's honestly cool that they did listen because yeah, I've reached out to some of the other exchanges trying to get them on. Haven't had them yet, but exchange right we did have, and honestly, it seems like A2K is for, I guess A2K and exchange right is honestly for the artist. So that's cool that they did listen. Um, with I guess you being an artist, what would you say to, I guess a poet? I don't know. I guess the correct terms on that if it's just a poet, but I guess what would you say to people that I guess don't really know about crypto, Solana, or like NFTs? Like, what would you tell yourself? I guess what would you tell your buddy if he's super strong in the poet writing stuff like that, but doesn't know crypto? Why should someone trying to go on exchange art and have their work done this way?
I don't
Hopefully
know.
that
It's
makes
just
sense.
it's a new way of publishing things. I think like publishing a book, an ebook, Amazon, wherever it is. I don't know. It's like for me, it's always like a way of saving that piece to history, right? And in the hopes that when you die, or even while you're alive, someone across the country or whatever, someone you don't know, picks up your book of poems, picks up your painting or whatever, and can appreciate it. And maybe they feel, I don't know, less alone or whatever it is because of your art. And I feel like, sharing that outside of Solana is so difficult for me. It's so expensive. You rarely get the money back that you put in to try to publish it or to try to set up those different marketplaces and all the rest of it. It's also like, because of that work, that time, and that money, you're not really spending time as an artist experimenting and learning and growing and seeing what you can do. So this is a way to kind of, really accelerate that process of publishing your work in a way that's meaningful, so that other people can appreciate it, treat it as something that's an official published poem, a complete piece of artwork. And you learn a lot from other people viewing, buying, and selling your art. Having a price on things does act as a critique in some ways, like, or as a level that you can push yourself as an artist. You see what people respond to when there's a higher price versus a lower price. It teaches you something about your art that you can't really get by doing art in a silo or by just not seeing sales, off of your art. I think there's something about it that's meaningful. So I feel like it's just a really good place to grow and learn, like, as an artist, while at the same time, seeing value for your art. And then beyond that, for like me as a poet, it's one of the best ways to preserve my art. Like, a book doesn't get water damage or blah 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 blah, all these things. Like the poem exactly as I wanted it, as I wanted the other people to experience it, is preserved, and for God knows how long, but certainly longer than any physical thing. So I don't know. That's my skinny on it.
No, I like it because I guess maybe I won't say I was closed minded. I guess I was noob. You know what I mean? In the sense of I always thought NFT at first as a picture. I was just just a picture, which it I mean, it makes total sense as well. Where like even it's art. It could be like you said, the letters on the screen for poetry, or like a picture, things like that. But kind of like you said, it's crazy to think, and maybe I'm just thinking crazy right now, but like you said, you say 10, 20, 30 years, you know what I mean? Solana's still around, everything like that. And you are, that maybe not you are exactly, but, I don't want to try and ruffle feathers, but you're the person, like you just said, that you were going to, and don't hate me because I don't know the poetry, the guy you were talking about, who literally you were in all, you're like, bro, like this is fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Like that feeling, I don't know. It's just cool because I can see how something like that could be there, especially down the road. Because just me personally, like I said, I was thinking just straight art, not art as in poems, which I think that's really cool. Did you ever see yourself again doing poetry on the blockchain? I guess when you first I guess heard about crypto, because I know you said your buddy was in crypto a while back ago in BTC. Did you ever think about something like this would be happening, where you got your poems on as an NFT and selling it like that, or
No, I never really thought about it. I mean, like, it was all an explosion for me. I mean, I was actually in love with crypto trading and just fine. And I thought NFTs were total garbage for a long time, like absolute garbage. And then yeah, Solana, the first thing is obviously just making money, right? Like buying a Solana monkey early or something like that and flipping it, like all of a sudden it feels real because like you made some money on the thing. That's the first connection you have. But then honestly, it was, Pnug, it was Pink Skull Queen, it was Basket, El Topo, like all these original one of one artists that joined Solana. Like they made some amazing stuff that like really connected with me, and then I thought was great, and I was like, oh shit, like we can make art here. So it was just like that light bulb going off, seeing someone else do something, that inspired me, and it's been that way ever since. Like I see a lot of new poets and things like that now, new ways of creating typography, NFTs, and stuff like that. So it's just like bundles and bundles of inspiration here, and that's what keeps me around in the same way that it brought me here in the first place.
no, man, 100%. I guess question on just like a I guess quick explanation on if people are listening and are resonating on what you're saying, and someone brand new that's like, hey, you know what, I want to put my foot in the step. Honestly, what are, I guess, the steps to brand new person thinking about it, mom and dad who don't know anything? How do you get your work on, I guess, exchange art, or any of the, I guess, exchanges? I know that's kind of a broad, long question, but on basic terms, buy a soul, get it over there. Do you have to have a soul? Do you just sign up on an exchange? What are the steps on getting your work on the platform?
Yeah, I'd say the best two platforms to consider just for like a regular person or a one-on-one artist are probably between Holoplex and Exchange Art. For either of those, you obviously need a soul in a wallet. So you could buy it on a exchange like FTX or Coinbase or something like that, and then you can transfer that to a Phantom wallet. Probably the easiest to use. For Exchange Art, they have a spot right on their front page for sign up as a creator. As a creator, you need to sign up with an email address. It doesn't have to be like your real personal address. It can be any address that you have as an email. Just some basic information. And then it's pretty easy to click through too. For your initial collections and stuff. There's a button that says like create collection. You type in the collection title and some words and things like that. And then you're able to mint NFTs to that collection. And it's all, like I said, it's fairly understandable through the UI. There's an exchange video I made on how to mint. I'm gonna make a new one, so I can point people to that. There's also some resources that they have, on Medium articles and stuff like that. I'd say that's the one thing to Google, right? Like either Exchange Art or Holoplex, like Medium articles and how to sign up. Because typically there's a walkthrough in a Medium article that just like has screenshots and everything else.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, both those platforms are fairly simple to sign up and click around. Once you get going. Um, I'd say those are the first steps, and both of those like don't really require someone to approve you, right? Like Exchange, unless you're trying to peddle some stolen artwork, they pretty much approve everyone. Typically, it's within 24 hours that you get verified. Holoplex is just a free open market, so everything's just approved as soon as you pay for it. It's a very very small fee. It's like $1 or something like that to set up a store. Um, yeah, and all the fees across all these platforms are relatively cheap, like dollars and pennies, which is also nice because if you make mistakes or don't quite know what you're doing, you don't lose your whole wallet like you do on ETH. So it's a little bit more friendly for people experimenting. But yeah, I'd say those two places, Medium articles. The most important thing though is Twitter. Like you really have to get on Twitter. The best way to start Twitter, I think, in this space is really just appreciating and sharing other things in the space. Try to find artists you like, follow them, comment on their work, share their work. Go in the DMs or go in the comments of Exchange Art and Holoplex, like ask questions. All of these places have Discords. Discords are the best place to get the real thrash of conversation out or help. So if you go to Exchange Art Discord or Holoplex Discord, there's a support channel in there where you can talk to someone and get some more in-depth support if the generic Googling doesn't help you. And then I would say for an artist like URS, that's the Underground Royalty Society. It's the biggest one-on-one collective in Solana. So they also have a Discord that's a good place, or again, just sort of beating up their comments. There's probably like over 100 artists now that are sort of gathered underneath that collective.
Nice.
So it's a great place to just start engaging as an artist, and that's really where you'll find friends, collaborators, even buyers. Like all that sorts of stuff can come from the Underground Royalty Society at this point. So yeah, I'd say those are the three biggest resources to get started. Yeah.
No, 100%. Honestly, I'm glad you're saying that because again, hopefully it might seem dumb questions to some people, but on the flip side, shoot, I remember I didn't even know what heck a burner wallet was. I don't know we were talking about that, but something as simple as that, like what a burner wallet was, to like a month and a half after I was in Solana. So like, again, I want to be that medium where someone who doesn't know what the heck they're doing can literally listen to the podcast like you just said and be like, you know what, fucking poets demand, because I get all this stuff. Because sometimes that's the biggest thing, you know what I mean? On just the frustration, if it's not an easy experience, things like that. So honestly, shout out for you for I guess being an ambassador for exchange art, on just being an ambassador to artists in general. Last couple questions, because one, we're kind of past the 2:30 mark. Well, we're not kind of, we are. And I know you scheduled some time out. I guess what do you want to see, like, culture wise, of like the poetry, stuff like that? Where do you want to see the space go towards, if that makes sense?
Yeah, we just kind of talked about this today. Krat Studio had a post on it, but trying to raise the level of criticism is not the best word, but really like artistic appreciation. Like we're living in a world of crypto degens, right, and like dick jokes and things like that. And I think there's a real potential to have like a true like artistic renaissance here, like the highest tier and highest level of art that you can imagine. But I also like don't necessarily like the discourse around art in the real world. So we need something, but we can make it new, for the first time. But I'm just talking about like a culture that like talks seriously about the art and interprets it and tries to understand what it is the artist is saying, or at least what you feel from the art. So that can come in the form of like magazines, where they write like articles about certain artists. They highlight certain things in the ecosystem. Like it would just be nice to raise that level of discourse about the art in general, or try to find avenues or more formal ways to do it, besides just spaces and comments.
No, 100%. I think that'll basically help evolve the, like you said, just the artistic quality on Solana and just the art. Because I mean, I've been here for a minute, you know what I mean? And I know at first sometimes the art hasn't been anything good, you know what I mean? And then gradually, there's some talented people. It doesn't matter if it's art or the stuff you've been doing. Like that's the stuff that I get excited about, because we've had a couple different podcasts on there, and I guess on episodes where we've had people, and you can hear a passion, honestly, and just the, like you said, the appreciation, honestly, for either what they're doing on coding or the art or things like that. So I'm excited that's what you're looking forward to, because honestly, I think a lot of people are looking to go that way. Yeah, there's a lot of degens and a whole bunch of BS going around, but that's everywhere, and hopefully it'll get stronger and honestly stronger. I guess kind of last question on that. Again, I won't keep you up, keep you on. Do you have anything going on right now that you want people to know about, or even something kind of secretly that you might be able to drop some alpha on? I guess what are you working on now, or are you working on anything?
Yeah, I have a live auction actually with Dado. It's another poet. She just came on a few weeks ago, and we wrote a few collaborative poems together, just like excluding a vowel. And then now with our auctions, we're actually inviting collaborators in to do a participation NFT for us. So
Nice.
Zeno did a breakdown of this most recent one, and then Celestial Bodies did our next one. That's really amazing. And then I think, as far as nobody knows this, but I think Glitchstroke is going to do our very last poem, which we're really excited about. So I don't know. That's the thing that's on the top of my mind. Dado did an amazing job with the typography and like making a poster out of the poems and putting a few like metrics like number of characters, number of words, things like that in the poster. So I think they
I did
look
see
really
that earlier.
cool.
That was fresh.
Um, but yeah, that's what I'm about. And beyond that, I'll probably hit the typewriter poems up again. I'm just building that collection really slowly, releasing like 1 to 3 pieces at a time. So it's all going to be just on the typewriter, white backgrounds, black text. I'm going to start, experimenting, trying to do like, I don't know, different shapes or abstract designs or something like that with the typewriter keys. Like if you mash a bunch of characters together, you can do some cool stuff. So I might get
Ooh.
wild here in a minute, but for now, it's just pretty simple poems on the typewriter.
Nice. I guess I said last question before, but on y'all's auction, Are those, correct me if I'm wrong, are those always on, I guess, the Holoplex, or is that anywhere? And then I guess after that auction is over, realistically on the auctions, can people still get it afterwards? You know what I mean? If they listen to this and they're like, damn, I want to see what he's about. Are those things going up on auction always going to be there? Or after the auction's done, are those things off? How does that work?
Yeah, for now, I mean, all the auctions are through Holoplex, and then once they're done, all the NFTs anyway that I'm a part of are verified on Exchange Art as part of secondary markets. So there's already like a degen times data, collection on Exchange. So as soon as these things are purchased, the buyers could resell them. People could make offers on what they like. There'll also be another collection for the participation NFTs. So, if you just like Zeno's interpretation of the poem and you don't like the poem, you could just try to buy that, off of Exchange, and you might get a better deal on it because they got it for free, So, yeah.
Awesome. Honestly, I guess anything that I haven't really touched on that you've been wanting to, I guess, talk about or bring up on that one. We talked about a lot of things kind of in the short period of time, but anything that's been on the tip of your tongue that you haven't talked about, or for the most part, everything all good? Any last
Yeah,
concerns,
no, I
questions?
really appreciate the time today. I really haven't had this kind of opportunity yet, so thank you so much for this. I'm happy to hear some other artists come on this show. It'd be exciting. And all I have to say is I'm just really grateful for everybody, on Solana, and all the support I've received up until this point. It's been great for me. So thanks to everyone is all I really have to say.
Awesome. Well, stick around for a quick second, then I'm going to go ahead and end it. But again, man, I think for taking some time out of your work day and just showing some love and talking about yourself. So I appreciate that. I'll be right back. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Again, shout out again, DJ Poet. If you're not already, go ahead and follow him on Twitter. Take a look at what they got going on, basically on Exchange Art, everything like that. So again, y'all stay fresh, stay clean, stay positive, and as always, caw-caw.